Well, buddy, I secured that land. Yeah, we're gonna keep it wild. I knew you'd appreciate that.
For over a decade, Eustace Conway has been one of America's most fascinating and mysterious figures. Known for his rugged lifestyle, his expertise in wilderness survival, and his starring role in the hit documentary series Mountain Men, Conway captivated audiences with his self-reliance and deep connection to nature. But behind the towering legend was a man who rarely spoke about the personal struggles, legal battles, and controversies that had shadowed his life, until now. After years of silence, Eustace Conway has finally broken his quiet, revealing details that are as shocking as they are unexpected. In a candid interview that has fans and critics alike talking, he discussed the struggles that shaped him, the lessons he learned living off the grid, and the challenges that fame brought into his life. For someone who has always lived apart from mainstream society, Conway's words carry weight, and for the first time, they give us a glimpse into the man behind the mountain. The timing couldn't be more dramatic. As headlines explode across social media, Conway's revelation has already sparked debates and speculation. Was it about his legal issues, his personal philosophy, or a major shift in his lifestyle? Or perhaps all of it at once? What he shared has the power to change the way fans view him, not just as a television personality, but as a real man who has faced life on his own terms, with all its trials and triumphs. This is the story fans have been waiting for. The untold truth, finally spoken after years of silence. Eustace Conway is a name that evokes images of rugged mountains, dense forests, and a life lived on the edge of civilization. For years, he has been admired, and sometimes misunderstood, for his extraordinary survival skills, deep respect for nature, and unshakable commitment to living off the grid. From his early days learning the ways of the wilderness to his role in the popular documentary series Mountain Men, Conway built a reputation as a man who lives by his own rules, far removed from the noise of modern society. But what fans often didn't see was the personal struggle behind the legend. Conway's life has been marked by legal battles, public scrutiny, and the pressures of balancing fame with the lifestyle he holds sacred. Despite becoming a household name through television, he rarely shared his personal challenges, preferring to let his actions in the wild speak for themselves. Yet those quiet years were not without turmoil. Friends and colleagues hint that the man who appeared invincible on screen often wrestled with the weight of public expectations and personal setbacks. Conway's early years shaped the man he would become. Growing up fascinated by nature, he immersed himself in survival skills, learning to hunt, fish, and live off the land from a young age. He eventually founded Turtle Island Preserve in North Carolina, a sanctuary dedicated to teaching others about natural living and environmental stewardship. It was more than a business or a hobby. It was a philosophy, a way of life that he believed could heal not only people but the planet. However, Conway's commitment to his lifestyle brought him into conflict with authorities and critics alike. Legal battles over property disputes, zoning issues, and allegations surrounding his preserve often made headlines. For years, Conway chose silence, refusing to comment publicly, leaving fans and critics to speculate about the real story. Some viewed him as a stubborn recluse. Others saw a visionary whose methods were simply misunderstood. Despite the chaos, Conway remained steadfast. He continued to teach survival skills, mentor students at Turtle Island, and maintain the lifestyle that defined him. Yet the tension between his desire for privacy and the public's curiosity weighed heavily. "People think I'm untouchable because I live in the woods," he once said in a rare statement. But living like this doesn't make you immune to struggle. It just changes the way you face it. Now, after years of silence, Eustace Conway has finally broken that quiet. In a candid new interview, he opens up about the trials that shaped him, the decisions that defined his career, and the truths that he's never shared with the world. For fans who have long admired his resilience and independence, these revelations are more than news. They are a window into the real man behind the legend. What Conway reveals next isn't just about survival or wilderness skills. It's about the human cost of living a life apart from society. The sacrifices made for a philosophy few can truly understand, and the moments that tested him more than any storm or harsh winter ever could. This isn't just a story about a mountain man. It's a story about a man who faced life, fame, and adversity on his own terms. For years, Eustace Conway remained largely silent in the public eye. While cameras captured his adventures on Mountain Men and headlines occasionally reported legal disputes or property controversies, Conway himself rarely commented. That silence, many believed, was a shield, a way to protect his philosophy, his family, and the sanctuary he had built at Turtle Island Preserve. Yet silence also carried its own weight, fueling rumors, speculation, and public fascination with the enigmatic mountain man. Those closest to him say Conway's quiet demeanor was not about secrecy alone. It was a reflection of his deep respect for life, nature, and the human experience. Eustace never speaks to fill space, a former student revealed. When he does speak, it's because it matters. Over the years, fans and critics alike constructed their own narratives. Some saw him as a stubborn recluse, others as a visionary misunderstood by modern society. But the truth, Conway explains, has always been far more nuanced. The new interview reveals that his silence was partially self-preservation. Living under constant public scrutiny while maintaining a way of life that is inherently unconventional proved exhausting. From disputes with local authorities to clashes over zoning laws and accusations surrounding Turtle Island, Conway faced countless challenges. "I learned the hard way that not everyone wants you to live differently," he says. "The world can be harsh to those who refuse to follow its rules." Beyond legal troubles, Conway also shares the emotional toll of fame. Being thrust into the spotlight for Mountain Men brought admiration, but also judgment. Fans assumed he lived an idealized life, untouched by modern problems. Critics scrutinized his every decision, from his methods of survival to his interactions with students. "People see a man surviving in the wilderness and assume he has no struggles," he says. "They forget that we are human, and humans feel pain, frustration, and loss just like anyone else." His recent confession touches on deeply personal experiences that he had kept private for years, including moments of doubt, the emotional weight of teaching others about survival, and the fear of losing the land he had worked so hard to preserve. It's a rare glimpse behind the legend, showing that even someone who appears unshakable faces vulnerability and uncertainty. Eustace's words also offer reflection on the life lessons that have kept him grounded. He talks about patience, respect for nature, and the importance of self-reliance, not just in the wilderness, but in facing life's challenges. "Living this way doesn't make you invincible," he admits. "It teaches you to face reality, to adapt, and to find peace even when the world seems against you." What makes this revelation so powerful is the honesty with which Conway speaks. After years of letting speculation and rumor define his public image, he finally shares his truth in his own voice. The man who survived countless storms, navigated legal battles, and inspired thousands through television is human, vulnerable, and reflective, a side the world has rarely seen. For fans who admired him from afar, this chapter of his story reshapes the narrative. It is no longer just about a survivalist in the mountains. It is about a man who navigated life, fame, and adversity on his own terms, finally speaking out after years of silence to set the record straight. Eustace Conway's recent revelation has sent shockwaves through his fan base and the survivalist community alike. For years, the public only glimpsed fragments of his life, a man thriving in the wilderness, teaching students at Turtle Island, and living off the grid with seemingly effortless skill. But as Conway finally opens up, a fuller picture emerges, revealing both the triumphs and the struggles that defined his journey. One of the most surprising aspects of Conway's confession is the personal toll of living a life so detached from mainstream society. While viewers of Mountain Men saw a man hunting, building shelters, and guiding students through treacherous landscapes, few understood the mental and emotional challenges behind those feats. Conway describes moments of profound loneliness, periods where the pressure of expectations, both from the public and himself, became overwhelming. "Living like this is not always romantic," he admitted. "It's demanding, isolating, and at times incredibly frustrating." He also sheds light on the controversies that surrounded him for years. From disputes with local authorities to legal battles over property boundaries and the operation of Turtle Island Preserve, Conway faced criticism that often painted him as difficult or obstinate. But his explanation shows a man committed to principle rather than confrontation. "I've never wanted to fight anyone," he said. "I just wanted to protect the land, the students, and the way of life I believe in. Unfortunately, passion can be mistaken for stubbornness." Conway's candid discussion also includes the strain of being thrust into the spotlight. While he did not actively seek fame, television and media exposure brought a unique set of pressures. Suddenly, every action was scrutinized, every decision analyzed, and every misstep amplified. For a man who values solitude and self-reliance, this intrusion was difficult. "I became a public figure without asking for it," Conway admitted. "It changed how I lived and how people saw me. I had to find balance between staying true to myself and navigating public perception." The new interview also explores his philosophy on life, survival, and resilience. Conway emphasizes that his work is never about fame or recognition. It is about teaching others to respect the natural world and to rely on themselves. "The lessons aren't just about hunting or building shelter," he explained. "They're about patience, responsibility, and understanding that life is unpredictable. Those skills apply whether you're in the forest or the city." Perhaps the most compelling revelation is Conway's reflection on his personal growth. He admits that over the years he has faced moments of self-doubt and fear, yet those experiences ultimately shaped his character. He speaks of learning to let go of anger, to embrace vulnerability, and to value patience above all else. In doing so, he gives fans a rare glimpse of the human side of the man they thought they knew so well. Eustace Conway's voice, finally heard after years of silence, changes the narrative entirely. He is not just a survivalist or television personality. He is a man who has faced life's challenges head-on, often in isolation, and emerged with wisdom, humility, and a renewed commitment to his mission. His story reminds us that even legends have struggles, and even the strongest among us need moments to pause, reflect, and speak the truth. This chapter of his life closes the gap between the myth and the man, showing that behind the rugged exterior lies a deeply thoughtful, resilient, and human soul. Eustace Conway's long-awaited confession does more than reveal the struggles he faced. It signals the beginning of a new chapter in his life. After years of silence, controversy, and solitude, Conway appears ready to embrace a future where he can speak openly, share his experiences, and continue his mission on his own terms. His words reflect not only a reckoning with the past, but also a clarity about the path ahead. In the interview, Conway emphasizes the lessons he has learned from his years in the wilderness and under public scrutiny. He explains that survival is about more than physical endurance. It is about emotional resilience, adaptability, and self-awareness. "Life is unpredictable," he said, "and being prepared doesn't just mean having the right tools. It means being ready to face challenges inside yourself as well as outside." These insights demonstrate a side of Conway few have seen: reflective, philosophical, and deeply aware of the human condition. He also speaks candidly about the personal costs of his lifestyle. While living in the wilderness has brought him unparalleled freedom and connection to nature, it has not been without sacrifice. Relationships, public perception, and moments of isolation all weighed heavily on him over the years. "There were times I questioned whether the path I chose was worth it," Conway admitted. "But each challenge taught me something about patience, strength, and the importance of staying true to yourself." The interview addresses the controversies that surrounded Turtle Island Preserve and his legal battles. Conway reframes these struggles not as conflicts, but as learning experiences. "I wanted to build something meaningful," he said. "When others challenged that, it forced me to defend not just the land, but the values that define me. I learned a lot about human nature, persistence, and compromise." His reflections reveal a man who has grown wiser and more grounded through adversity. Fans will also find hope in Conway's discussion of the future. He talks about plans to expand educational programs at Turtle Island, mentor new generations, and use his platform to advocate for environmental stewardship. For a man who once retreated from public attention, this renewed engagement is a sign of resilience and purpose. "I want to teach people what I've learned, not just about survival, but about life," he said. "If I can help someone see the world differently, then all the struggles were worth it." Perhaps most striking is Conway's sense of peace. After years of tension, speculation, and silence, he seems to have found a balance between solitude and communication, between legend and reality. He acknowledges that fame can distort perception, but he also recognizes the power of speaking truthfully about one's experiences. "I'm ready to share my story," he said. "Not for attention, but because it matters to me and those who come after me." Eustace Conway's confession reshapes the narrative around his life. He is no longer just the rugged survivalist from television. He is a man of reflection, growth, and unwavering commitment to his principles. His story reminds us that true resilience is not about avoiding challenges, but about facing them with honesty, humility, and courage. As fans absorb his revelations, one thing is clear: Conway's silence was never emptiness. It was preparation. And now, after years of quiet, his voice emerges stronger than ever, ready to inspire, teach, and continue a legacy that goes far beyond the mountains he calls home.